What you see here on the screen, on this altcoin market cap chart, that yellow fractal, I think is a representation, an illustration of not only why I am so bullish, macro bullish on the crypto space, altcoins, but I think many of you too. And I was starting to dissect and look at some data today in relation to that yellow fractal, and it really hit me in terms of the crypto golden era and how this thing could actually play out to be absolutely massive. And I'm talking about a macro level view here right now, everybody. I'm not talking about the next weeks or months, which could also be massive. I'm talking the macro level and the opportunity that is right now before us. This is why I continue to put out bullish content, is because what I see here, I think this is such a different view on the charts that we've been looking at. And I'm very excited to record this video. So hit the subscribe and like on the way in. This is the altcoin market cap. We're going to just dissect it as well in the ADA market cap, because Cardano, obviously you all know I'm just incredibly bullish on the macro on Cardano. But the way this fractal plays out is just a really brilliant reflection of, even if you don't hold Cardano, but other altcoins and entering this golden era and what this could look like. Before I really dive into these charts, and there's the fractal, I want to just lay the groundwork with very important context. This is incredibly important to the speculation that we're about to kind of hop into. Trump Media, parent company of Truth Social, has announced a partnership with Crypto.com to launch a series of ETFs comprised of digital assets as well as securities with a Made in America focus. Made in America focus. I want to just highlight that point. This is tying heavily into my ultra bullish thesis now. I was already bullish on crypto, but now I'm ultra bullish because of this Made in America focus coming out of the United States of America administration with the pro-crypto SEC now. This is so huge to what we're about to speculate on. And I think it is so underestimated what is happening right now. The products, which will include BTC, CRO, and other crypto assets, are set to launch later this year pending regulatory approval. So crypto, Made in America focus, pro-crypto administration. You all know about the Bitcoin strategic reserve, the altcoin stockpile, Trump posting about Cardano specifically, XRP specifically. You all know it. Foundational to what we're about to look at. And then this, America in general. We're going to take in a lot of money from the outside, and that's going to keep our taxes low, and I think get a lot lower. It's going to be a beautiful transformation. Howard Lutnick, President Trump say the External Revenue Service is launching next month. You all know what's happening with the Liberation Day for America, Trump calls it, in April. Tariffs, the tariff situation. I know a lot of people are just tired of it. They think it triggered some type of bear market. I think it's triggering what Trump has been talking about, which is the golden era for America. If this happens, and if in the next couple of years this plays out to be just a strengthened America like we've never seen, what happens then when that same America, which is leading the entire world now in crypto, in the deregulation of crypto, in the adoption of crypto, when the confluence of these two things happens, what do you think happens to crypto? That is the definition, in my view, of the crypto golden era. And it is very much similar to the golden era for the tech space in the early 2000s. This is where we are. When I say I'm grateful to be in this space right now, this is why. The way in which these things are coming together. And I'm looking at this as a macro value investor, not just somebody in crypto looking to 10x something, in a month. Now let's talk about it. This is an Amazon chart. I know this will frustrate a lot of people that I'm using Amazon as it relates to crypto, but I don't think there is actually any better comparison to try and get an idea of the opportunity that is before us right now. And let me explain that. Let me visualize it very simply on the screen in the minutes ahead. I was talking to Grok real quick. I was just like, you know what? They were talking trash, right? About Amazon after the 95% crash in the early 2000s. Grok says, you're right. People were indeed talking trash about Amazon 2000 after its stock crashed by 95% from its .com bubble peak. Following the bubble's burst in 2000, it went from $106 per share to $5.50. Brutal period. At the time, many investors, analysts, and general public viewed Amazon as just another overhyped .com failure. So yeah, in 2001, the naysayers were loud. and the crash gave them plenty of ammo. Does this sound familiar, everybody, by the way? Even maybe on this video, you will see in the comments below. Does it all sound familiar? Because it sounds so familiar to me. But they underestimated Amazon's resilience and Bezos' long-term vision, which set the stage for one of the wildest comebacks in business history. Wait until you see what the Amazon fractal that I have here in yellow, what it looks like on the altcoin and the Cardano charts. I was talking to Plutus Staking over here. I want to go over this really briefly because he made a couple good points, and then we'll look at the charts. I sent him the chart because I was on Amazon chart. I was messing around with the fractal. I was like, man, this is crazy. I sent it to him. Said, Amazon is such a beautiful chart. Funny enough, Amazon is something I compare Cardano to fundamentally speaking. And I was like, fundamentally? He said 100% on early tech opportunity stage, fundamentally first principle level. Amazon had a really nice, slow and methodical approach to building out its business. What a good point, because that is exactly how Cardano has kind of been building out. They were also built during the golden era of tech. I think we're in the golden era of crypto now, and Cardano will come out on top. How good is that, everybody? That is just such a nice synopsis of what we're about to visualize on these charts. Now, it gets very exciting because this is what it looks like on the altcoin chart. And you can actually see Amazon, bull market, falling into a bear market, altcoins falling into a bear market, 95% dip. It's over for Amazon, and you see what happened. And even exiting that bear market, you can just kind of see Amazon just trying to find a higher low. Altcoins are doing like the same exact thing. But the thing is, that's a very broad chart, the altcoin market. If you compare it, because Amazon was kind of a single asset here, if you compare it to ADA, now we start getting context on the charts. Let me explain what is going on here and why I think this is so incredibly bullish for not just Cardano, but even if you hold other high value altcoins. Let me explain this chart. Here's Amazon in yellow, pumping, falling 95%. I wanted to compare that early stage Amazon move to the first full Cardano bull market. I didn't want to use it and plot it over Cardano's first kind of launch, right? There was really nothing here. But now this is an actual product coming into play, Cardano. Very similar to early stage Amazon. Now, let's explain what's going on. And I'm going to work in here the monetary cycle and what the Fed is doing and how that plays into liquidity and this bull market and the next move for ADA and altcoins. Check this out. If you notice the fractal in yellow, Amazon, notice how after the 95% dip, it bounced out of that area. Notice how ADA did not. What's the key difference here? That was my first immediate question I needed to understand. The key difference is right here in terms of Cardano and present day, the Fed went into this contraction phase, quantitative tightening, right? 2022. And just look at the continued bear market for ADA and crypto. That's what happened. What happened with Amazon after the 95% crash? Well, the opposite happened. And I spelled expansion wrong, but you get the point. I have to fix it. The opposite happened. Fed went into expansion, which began in 2002. And you can see the uptrend of that fractal for Amazon. The reason why that is absolutely so relevant right now is because we went into contraction here. We've been in contraction, quantitative tightening for all this bear market, all of crypto. This is how Cardano has kind of survived that time. But now we're getting ready to end quantitative tightening, literally in April. It's the slowing down. It's not coming to a complete end, but it's a slowing down now, finally, of quantitative tightening. And if we look at this chart on ADA, it's held up all through quantitative tightening. Now, if it begins to slow, and then if it begins to end, and then we get QE, quantitative easing, coming into play, that would be an environment in which this happened for Amazon back here in 2002. What do you think is next for altcoins and Cardano? And if we kind of put a little bit of a different take on this, I opened up the Fed funds rate chart, and I just wanted to plot this out. Well, what did this chart look like? And this is a very zoomed out chart. I mean, this is going, you can see back here, this is like 1970s back here. Here's the Amazon move. So expansion phase begins. the Amazon boom and golden tech era begins, Fed fund rate falling into 2003 and 2004. Crypto boom and golden era for crypto beginning. Fed fund rate going to start falling because now we're in the golden era for crypto. Not the golden tech era, the golden era for crypto. Do you see how the monetary cycles are lining up right now? And so when you go look at an ADA chart, it held up through a bear market. It held up through all of that quantitative tightening. And we're about to enter this environment where America going to have its own economic boom, I think. And America is the country leading the way for crypto and the pouring in of innovation and tons of liquidity into this space. What do you think happens when we get Fed net liquidity indicator in green starting to trend up? What happens for altcoins and happens for this space? What happens? I mean, I guess nobody knows exactly, but I can tell you what I think is going to happen. And I can tell you that is why I continue to post bullish macro content on the crypto space. And I want to make a note. This low, I think, was around $2 billion valuation for Amazon. ADA right now, at its starting point, over $25 billion market cap. So the upside in terms of this tech and in terms of still speculative, but in terms of the crypto space is incredible to me. And the Amazon story, though it's not a direct comparison in terms of the tech and what's going on, but the Amazon story and really the tech crypto boom, the golden era for tech in the early 2000s is such a good direct comparison to the early stage crypto era, crypto golden era that we're entering right now. So these are my thoughts. This is my thought as a value investor, as a long-term macro investor. I'm not trying to hype anybody up, or I'm not trying to just throw out just straight up hopium, but this data is so compelling to me. And so I wanted to share it with you. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I appreciate you. I really do. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Let's see how this plays out. And if you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. That support means so much to me. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.